Hi friends, welcome to My Soul Bliss. Today I'm excited to show you how to make these super fun and easy key fobs. This tutorial is so quick, so easy, but so satisfying to make something that looks really nice. And then you just have this really easy handle key fob to hold keys or whatever else you want to clip it to. You could even clip it to like a wallet or something. So it just helps to keep track of all your stuff, and I love it. I made a rainbow of them and I just am obsessed with them and think they're so fun. So I'm excited to show you guys how to do it. The supplies that you're going to need, of course, are your fabric. I just used a fat quarter. You don't need very much fabric, very small amount. So fat quarter or even less scraps is what we're using. And then I did use some batting in between my layers to make it a little thicker, a little nicer and sturdier. You could also use fusible interfacing. That is a great option as well. And then the Key Fob Hardware, I'll put a link down below for it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at fabric stores that sell this type of hardware. So really nice to have, and I love, most of them will come with a little ring too that is nice. I got a bunch on Amazon, like a 50 pack for not very much, so highly recommend going on there and grabbing them. So other than that, you're just going to need your basic sewing supplies. So let's get started making our key fobs. First thing that we want to do is prepare our fabric and our batting or fusible interfacing, whatever one you will be using. So I'm making mine a 1 inch wide, slightly smaller than 1 inch wide is what I have my little hardware piece. So this is a 1 inch hardware piece. So I like the idea of the key fob being slightly smaller and not hanging off the edge. I made one that was cut at 4 inches and I just didn't like that it was hanging off. So if you don't like that look, I'm going to show you what I do to fix that. If you're fine with that, then you can totally cut yours out at 4 inches by 12 inches and it'll work fine. I just did mine instead at 3 3/4 of an inch by 12. So that just makes it a little bit smaller for us to then make it fit in our hardware. So I got my main fabric cut out and I'm just using one piece of fabric, and then I have my batting right here and I just cut that at 3/4 of an inch as well. If you're doing the 4 inch wide, you could just leave that as 1 inch as well. So now I'm ready to take it over to the ironing board, and first I'm going to iron it in half, and I'm just going to show you right here for now and finger press it, but you can press it in half. So then you have this line right down the middle, and then you fold the edges, the long edges, into that middle line and then press it again. Make sure they line up with that first pressed line, and I'm going to do that on both sides. So you'll end up with 3 fold lines in your fabric, because eventually we're then going to fold it in half like this, and that's how it's going to lay. So we're going to get all of those fold lines ready so that it makes it easier for us to sew. And while I'm over there, I can also place my batting or fusible interfacing. I just place it in this second fold. It makes it the easiest. And then fold your fabric up and fold it back up, and then give it a good press again. And it's ready to take over to the sewing machine. Over at the sewing machine, I'm just gonna do a straight stitch down our folded edge first, and then pivot around and do a straight stitch down the other side. And I do back stitch at the beginning and the end to really secure those stitches. And I'm stitching about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. I want to make sure I'm catching both layers. And I just like the way it looks at 1/8 of an inch. Now I did stitch across here. You don't have to. I just kind of is satisfying to finish it off all the way around. And then I'm going to trim my threads. I have a little bunching right here, so we're going to make sure that looks okay, and then trim those. And then while I'm over at the sewing machine, I'm actually going to take it and fold it. Technically it would be like wrong sides together. Make sure it's not twisted, but I'm going to line up this short edge now and then stitch those together and do a back stitch at the beginning and the end, and just really make sure those are in place together. It'll strengthen our key fob and make it really nice. And then I can trim those threads as well. With that strip sewn, ready to go, we're then going to take our hardware piece, and you should have some pliers or something. This is really nice because it's the same size, so it gets that even push down on the hardware. And we're going to now place it on our fabric. So we place it in the hardware like so, and you just kind of give it a little bit of a tension, just like this. You can see there's the teeth in there, and so we want to line up our fabric, push it all the way to that bottom edge so that it looks like this. It's nice and secure in there, and then we're going to clamp it together, and that's going to make sure those teeth are secure as well. And one thing you want to make sure is also that you're lining it up with the edge. And I do have a little bit of thread here, and I want to cut that off before I don't want to clamp it and then it's like unable to cut it off and I can still see it, and then it'll bother me. So just make sure that's cleaned up. Okay, and then it's clamped and ready, and we're just gonna, like I said, place that in there, make sure it's lined up on the edges and all the way to the bottom of that hardware, and then just clamp together really nice. And I just like to press it really good along all the parts and edges. You can see that side has the clamp, and that side is our clean side. And now you have your finished key fob. Okay guys, once you have your hardware clamped on, you are all done with your key fob. Wasn't that so quick and easy? I absolutely love these. They turn out so good, look so good. Again, like I said earlier, I like that it's like just slightly smaller than the hardware. I just think that looks a lot better in my opinion. So they're really fun, easy to make, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below in the comment section. Make sure to follow along for more sewing tutorials, tips, and tricks, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!